Namaskar. This is Akhilesh Bhargav. Welcome to Tidbits on Business and Finance with me. The weakest link in the chain for revival of the Indian economy are India's banks and financial institutions. The banking and financial sector of India is sick, stressed, shaky, and actually in shambles. And it is one of the reasons why Moody's recently downgraded India's credit rating. It is not just that the sector has got record NPAs and that they continue to mount, but the more worrisome part is that banks and bankers are not willing to lend. They prefer to park their money with the Reserve Bank rather than do their core activity of borrowing and lending, and that's what makes it even more worrisome. As we said, the sector is sick, and the next Yes Bank or the next DHFL or PMC could just be round the corner. It is in this context that the Reserve Bank Governor Mr. Shaktikanta Das recently, while addressing the 7th State Bank Conclave on Banking and Economics, he advocated and suggested the setting up of a resolution corporation. He says that a resolution corporation should be set up and that would be responsible for the resolving and revival of stressed financial firms in India, which would of course include banks. According to him, the Reserve Bank will continue to be the regulator of the sector, and as part of its regulation and supervision, it would seek to identify and spot vulnerabilities and weaknesses in banks and financial institutions at an early stage, at an incipient stage, and thereafter, it is a resolution corporation which would be responsible for the resolution and revival of that particular institution or bank. He further spoke about the Yes Bank case. He said that it is a unique public-private model for the revival of a bank, especially after the market-based approach failed. The bank was not able to get any investor through its market efforts, and that is when 10,000 crores, he says, was put in by 8 institutions, which included SBI, which had put in 6,050 crores, and the rest of it came from others, which included institutions from the private sector. He says it is a unique way in which a financial institution has been revived. Mr. Das further referred to Section 227 of the IBC, which clearly gives powers to the Reserve Bank of India to intervene whenever an NBFC or a housing finance company has been referred to the NCLT under the IBC. And in that context, he mentioned the case of Diwan Housing. DHFL has been referred to the NCLT, and the Reserve Bank, using its powers, has appointed an administrator for its revival. He suggested or mentioned that also to say how these kind of cases are being resolved. The fact of the matter is that banks and NBFCs in India fail with regularity. Sickness is written all over the sector, and despite that, we have no standard or uniform legally based or authorized system or mechanism in the country by which these kind of sick banks or institutions need to be revived or need to be liquidated. It is completely missing. All that is happening so far in the sector, whenever a bank or an NBFC turns sick or it turns weak, is that extremely arbitrary, ad hoc, and erratic measures are initiated which have got no uniformity. And this was very evident recently when a petition was put to the Supreme Court and the government was asked that why did it bail out Yes Bank and why did it refuse to bail out PMC Bank, and the government actually had no answer. The fact of the matter is that any revival of a financial institution in India today does not really have a set pattern. It is based on the whims and fancies of the government and of the Reserve Bank, which is very apparent from the few cases that we will discuss right away. India has witnessed a series of failures of financial institutions and banks in the past few years, and every case was dealt differently. Take the case of IDBI Bank. It went bankrupt, and it is the LIC which was asked to step in to bail it out at a budget of 55,000 crores. Thus, it got a bailout by another financial institution. Take the case of PMC Bank. No decision taken whatsoever so far. A bailout is what its depositors expected, but nothing decided so far. The case continues to languish. The Reserve Bank governor says that the losses in it exceed 50% of its deposits and a decision is yet to be taken. But in the case of IDBI Bank, the decision was swift and action was taken immediately. Take the case of DHFL. It also has giant losses incurred because of frauds caused by the promoters, and the matter has been referred to the NCLT. And the Reserve Bank seems to be keen to somehow revive the institution, where we would like to ask, why is PMC not being revived and why is DHFL being sought to be revived? Thus, the patterns are totally different. We do not know the reasoning. Take the case of ILFS. The board of directors was superseded, a new one was appointed under Uday Kotak. The thought was that the company will either be revived or it will be liquidated, and neither has really happened so far. And at the moment, it looks like the entire process lacks any kind of a direction. Take all those 14 public sector banks which also had gone bankrupt, and the Reserve Bank of India in their case did not bail them out. It put them under a prompt corrective action measure, which is a PCA, in order to revive them, and that also included a massive recapitalization of those banks by the government of India. Or take the recent case of the CKP Cooperative Bank. The bank has been put into liquidation, no revival being done, even though here also depositor money is being involved. Or take ICICI Bank. It was involved in accounting irregularities and corruption in a large way. Nothing done, everybody allowed to go scot-free, no action taken. That again is a question, why does the Reserve Bank have a different yardstick for different cases? And then take the case of PNB. PNB is a fraud-ridden institution, the latest one being of DHFL, wherein PNB agrees that it has a fraud of over 3,500 crores, and it yet continues to have recapitalization coming in from the government of India to keep it alive. All these institutions we discuss are of the same sector, the same business, the same regulator, and yet the yardstick or the formula adopted for their revival or closure has been completely different, completely on a case-to-case basis, with no pattern or no standard mechanism being visible. In the past, one used to actually notice some kind of a pattern. If a particular bank failed, the Reserve Bank and the government used to quickly merge it with another larger and stronger bank. That was a standard formula that we witnessed in the past. By doing that, of course, the balance sheet of the strong bank suffered, but the depositor interests of the bank that had failed were protected. That used to be the pattern earlier, but that is not so any longer. At the moment, different formulas, different approaches, we really do not know the logic. So what are the larger issues that emerge here? The first issue, as we said, is why is it that there are different yardsticks for institutions and banks which are all in the same business, same activity, same law, same regulator? Why is it that different measures come up when any institutions fail? That's the first larger issue which is causing a lot of chaos in the sector. According to us, utter confusion prevails at the moment. Earlier, one thought that Reserve Bank was the resolution corporation. Reserve Bank was the body that used to resolve any sick institution. But after we hear what Mr. Shaktikanta Das says, perhaps this role is no longer being performed by the Reserve Bank of India. Earlier, if a bank failed, we always looked at the RBI. But now the RBI governor is trying to look at a proposed resolution corporation. Thus, the second issue is utter confusion prevails in the matter. Further, the present scenario is completely different from what Mr. Shaktikanta Das wisely suggests. The present is that no preventive measures are taken and no effort is made in order to identify vulnerabilities and weaknesses at an early stage. And that's because we have seen every bank manipulating its financial statements. Losses have been put under the carpet. Bad loans were hidden for years together, and that suited everyone in the system. It suited the CEO of the bank, it suited the government, it suited the RBI. All the dirt was put under the carpet, hoping that it will take care of itself, which it has not. Thus, any preventive measure is not what it has been so far. So far, it has been a post-mortem approach. After the chaos, after the dirt, after all that is hidden gets too big, the institution itself now becomes too difficult to handle and it has gone bankrupt. That's the point of time when a post-mortem approach comes. That's what happened in the case of IDBI. For years it hid its bad debts, and when it became too difficult to hide, it went bankrupt. LIC was asked to step in. Only after an institution becomes rotten has action been taken so far, and Mr. Das is correct in suggesting that all vulnerabilities must be identified at an early stage. We hope that approach changes at some point of time. But then the reality will come is that if you want to shift to a preventive situation and go away from a post-mortem situation which has caused immense harm to the institutions, to the sector, then we need to have a situation where there is better management of banks, better accountability, control on corruption, stringent audits, stringent regulations, and punishing all those who have violated all the regulations involved. And that is something that we keep talking all the time. It is a government which has to set an example by refusing to or restraining itself from meddling in the functioning of banks and of the Reserve Bank of India. And if that happens, you can expect an era where there will be a preventive approach rather than a post-mortem approach. But that is what just doesn't happen. And perhaps at this point of time, when we see that the government likes to be in control of every institution, maybe seeking a preventive approach rather than a post-mortem approach to resolving the sickness in banks is asking too much. The first step will have to be taken by the government. A lot of others will follow thereafter. The resolution corporation that the Reserve Bank governor is suggesting perhaps could work only if the government is willing to discipline itself. This is Akhilesh Bhargav signing off till we meet again. Namaskar.
हमारे घरों में भी बच्चे होते हैं जो हमसे प्यार दुलार की आस करते हैं।
हमारा भी जीवन साथी है जिसको हमारे ड्यूटी से घर आने का इंतजार होता है।
हमारे घर में भी एक बूढ़ी माँ है जिनके लिए आज भी हम ही आंखों के तारे हैं।
लेकिन हम हमारे घरों में नहीं हैं। आपकी सुरक्षा में कोई कसर न रहे, इसलिए हम अपने प्रियजनों से दूर हैं।
हम में से ही कुछ तो अब इतने दूर जा चुके हैं कि वो वापस अपने घरों को लौट भी नहीं पाएंगे।
हमें गर्व है कि हमारे कंधों पे मुंबई शहर के नागरिकों की सुरक्षा की जिम्मेदारी है। हमारे जज्बे और बलिदान को व्यर्थ न जाने दे। इस संकट के समय में आप घर पे रहे, सुरक्षित रहे।
Now be the first to know about the latest updates on our new news app. Go on your Android or iOS, search for HW News Network. Download our app, choose the language you prefer to get updates in, and be up to date with the latest news.
If you like this video, please share it, and we would love to hear your comments in the comments section down here. Also, please do like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter to get minute-to-minute news updates. For more such shows and videos, well, subscribe to our YouTube channel.